Oftentimes, in many of my videos, I get a lot of people asking me about my jewelry, the jewelries that I wear in my videos, and do they have any magical, spiritual meaning behind them. Now, I do wear some jewelry. It's just as fashion pieces, fashion statements, but most of my jewelry that I do wear are symbology of my spirituality. They're tools for protection, a way of me contacting my spirits, protecting myself from lower level entities, lower level energies. Okay, so yes, I do use, and you'll see in a lot of my videos, I do use a lot of jewelry. Now you will see jewelry, spiritual and magical jewelry used in all cultures, in all traditions, and in all religions. In the Catholic religion, you will often see the rosary. In Buddhism, you will see the mala beads. So you will see jewelry you will see jewelry mentioned in all cultures, from ancient Japan to the Druids, to the Celtics, to Egypt, Northern Africa. You will see in most spiritual and magical traditions the mention of jewelry within their traditions. In Santeria, you will often hear about los jeleques, los collares. In Espiritismo, same thing. So this goes into all cultures. I have heard some people say that in my country, if it's not done in my country, then it's nothing. I don't believe in that. I think that's the most insane notion. So I believe that theory to be insane. The vulgar invention of a demented individual. You will see, that's just the way I see it. You will see jewelry, like I said, in all religions. Ceremonial magic, they use the ring of King Solomon, Lord of the Ring. I mean, literally, that book, The Lord of the Ring, and the ring is based on ancient philosophies and traditions around the world. So you will see jewelry used in spirituality, in magic, in arcane traditions, earth-based religions, earth-based traditions, all over the world. So many people are going to think that this video is about jewelry when it's not. It's about reading and interpreting omens around you, whether it's the way the birds fly, paying attention to squirrels, animals around you, the wind, the clouds, omens, symbols, and signs in nature. On January 31st, I think it was January 31st of this year, I remember I was walking. It was a nice, crisp New England winter night, and I'm taking my dogs out for a walk. And I noticed the full moon. It was really beautiful, beautiful full moon. And I realized tonight is the blood moon. Okay. Now, there's a lot of lore between the blood moon. And it said that if a vampire bites another, this in ancient lore, it says that if a vampire bites a person on a blood moon, he chose an apprentice. The same is true for a werewolf. If a werewolf was to attack or bite somebody on the night of the blood moon, then that person, if they survived, would become an alpha lycan or a werewolf. Now, this is just folklore. But I'm looking at the full moon. I remember I was looking at the moon. It was a blood moon, and I said to myself, I remember this clearly, as I'm walking the dogs, I said, I thought to myself, wow, trouble's on the way, trouble's brewing, danger's on the way, pay attention. And I remember thinking that clearly. I'm looking at this blood moon. It was really beautiful. And I just remember thinking as I was looking at this blood moon, and I always love to look at all the full moons because I recharge and I energize during the nights of the full moon. But I remember looking at this blood moon and thinking clearly This was January 31st of this year, 2018. Trouble is brewing. Trouble's on the way. Be careful. Watch out. I just remember that. So a week had passed after the blood moon, around a week, maybe 10 days, probably like 9 days had passed after the blood moon. The full moon had shown me, that it was giving me this, that I had paid attention to it. And I remember it was on a day, I think it was on a Tuesday, the day of Mars. I think it was on a Tuesday, because I also paid attention that I was taking my dogs on a walk in the park. I have 2 dogs, and I was taking my dogs in a walk. I was just walking my dogs, and they were on their leashes, and I noticed a crow. Okay, and I noticed this crow was above my head, and it flew in a circle 3 times, and then it perched itself on the tree above me, and I paid attention to it, and then I just kept walking, and I noticed that this crow flew to the next tree. I swear to God, did 3 circles and then perched on the tree, and then it started crowing. And I'm like, interesting. Again, I kept walking with my dogs, and then the crow followed me to the next tree. It flew around the tree around 3 or 4 times. It looked like it was doing just circles around the tree, landed on the tree on a branch, and it started crowing again. After it crowed, it flew to its murder. Now, its murder is a group of crows. But I remember thinking that was the 3rd time he had done that. And I remember that 1 means nothing. 2 is a coincidence. But 3, that means trouble is brewing. Trouble is on the way. And so I took special notice, and it was on the day of Tuesday, which is Martes. And I was like, okay, the blood moon, and now this crow, and he flew above me 3 times. He crowed, and then he flew to his murder. So again, 1 means nothing, 2 is just a coincidence, but 3, that's just like trouble along the way. A couple of days after that, I remember my godson called me, and he said, Padrino, I just saw a crow. It was outside my window. And I said, so was the crow by itself? And he said, yes, the crow was by itself. But the strange thing is that the crow flew away. In Spanish, we call a crow a cuervo. Okay. So the crow flew away, and all of a sudden an owl landed on the same branch where the crow was. And I remember telling my godson, that means danger. That means trouble. That means a fight. Something is brewing. Something is coming. Pay attention. Be careful. Watch yourself. Okay. Now that was enough for me. That was like the 3rd sign, even though I didn't see the 3rd one, but just for my godson to tell me this, that he saw this crow, and then he saw this nocturnal animal on I don't know what day it was, but it was on he saw it during the day, which owls are often nocturnal, but he saw the owl following the crow. We all know that owls and crows are natural enemies. Okay, so I told my godson, Papa, there's problems, there's a fight, there's an argument, and I'll remember that. That was a couple of days ago, a week ago, 10 days ago. And I remember saying that's trouble, that's fighting. Be careful. And then we had a conversation. I don't want to go into it. He said, Luz, because he had told me something that was happening. But that was enough for me to get home and do a little something that I had to do. After the conversation with my godson, I had waited till the night of midnight. When nothing was stirring in the house, everyone was asleep, and I took a black candle, and I prepared it. With some oils, and I stuck 7 white pins. I don't have white pins, but I'm just showing you what I had done that day. And I took 7 white pins, and I stuck it into the candle. I prepared it with oil. I lit it, and I said to the candle, well, I did a prayer, I did an invocation, an incantation, whatever you want to call it. I did a prayer, one of the Psalms, and I said, within 7 days, that which is in darkness I shall see, or that which is in darkness, which I don't see in front of my nose, will come to the light. The black of the color is symbolizing that which I cannot see. The 7 white pins, I'm using green and purple now, but I had white pins that night, and then I just threw it away when it was done. But it was to symbolize that which is in darkness shall come into the light. And so I did something similar to, like this, as you're seeing right now. I had prepared the candle. I used the 7 white pins. Right here I'm using green and purple, but it was white. I had blessed the candle with the oil. I lit it. I did a prayer. And again, I said, within 7 days, that which is unseen, I shall see, or that which I'm not paying attention to, will come to a light. Lo que está en la luz, lo que está en la oscuridad, saldrá a la luz. Lo que está en la oscuridad, saldrá a la luz. Lo que estás en la oscuridad, saldrá a la luz. That which is in darkness shall come to the light. That which is in darkness shall come to the light. That which is in darkness shall come to the light. Todo que se hace en la oscuridad, tarde o temprano saldrá a la luz. All that is done in darkness, sooner or later, shall come into the light. So as I prayed and meditated, I waited until it got to the first pin. The first pin dropped, and then I blew it out. On the next following day, I lit it again and waited until it went to the next pin and lit it, and I kept saying, todo lo que se hace en la oscuridad, tarde o temprano saldrá a la luz. Todo lo que se hace en la oscuridad, tarde o temprano saldrá a la luz. Todo lo que se hace en la oscuridad, tarde o temprano saldrá a la luz. So as it is written, so shall it be done. I waited, and this week I got what I needed to see. I saw the trouble. It was there in plain sight. And one thing that you will notice about Sansista is that I don't get into political. I don't get into anything that's political. I don't get into political debates. I don't get into religious debates or arguments. I'm just not that. I've always been a solitary creature. That's just who I am. As a spiritual person, I was never into gangs. If I had a fight with somebody, it was one-on-one. Trust and believe, as a young adult or as a young kid, I got into a fight with 5 people on top of me. But usually it was just me against whoever it may be. I never rallied a mob against nobody. That's just not my style. I handle it by myself. Just the way I think that's the way it should be, one-on-one. But I don't like that. I didn't come into this world to be a soldier or into battles. I've come into this world to be a brujo, a spiritual healer, someone who consults people, who tries to find tries to help people with their problems if I can. If I wanted to be a warrior, if I wanted to be into fights, I would have joined the army. I would have been in the armed forces. But when I was younger, I did study forensic science. I did study human psychology. When I was younger, I wanted to be a psychiatrist. Those have helped me when I analyze my clients, and not just my clients, but the spiritual community around me. Okay. So Anyways, so this came to light, whatever it may be, and I'm not going to get too deep into it. But there's 3 laws. There's many rules that I follow in my life. There's just so many. But 3 that I really want to talk about when it comes to this, or to just the way I view things. One spiritual law that I believe in is talk only with those worthy of your communication. Again, talk only with those worthy of your communication. I believe in not giving pearls unto swine. I believe with all my heart and soul to be friendly and brotherly to your neighbor, to all those who come to you. I am friendly and I'm brotherly to all, but I'm not familiar to most. Okay, so I'm friendly and I'm brotherly to all, but I'm not familiar with most. And I know as a spiritual person, a person who studies psychology, that wolves often come in sheep's clothing. So I just wanted to, add that to this video of omens and jewelry in spiritual work and all that. And things came to the light and blah, blah, blah. And again, I don't get into wars. I don't get into battles. All day long, I have clients calling me with real issues. People suffering with lower level entities. One mother, again, she was suffering with her son who had schizophrenia. Of course, I cannot heal schizophrenia, so I try to get her, for her son, medical help. A woman whose daughter was facing racism in school, and of course I helped her out, and so far so good. That has helped her. On a daily basis, I have 99 problems. I have to put my problems aside to help other people on a daily basis. Every day, I place my problems aside to help other people. And I don't have time. I don't have within me time for bochinche, which is gossip. I don't have time to rally up a mob against anybody else. That's just not who I am. I was never that way. Again, when I was younger, if I got jumped when I was a kid by 5 kids. And if I had to fight somebody, that battle was mine. I never asked anybody into that battle. And I know that this video is all over the place, and I'm sorry. But again, this has to do with omens, and that came into the light after I did my little trabajo espiritual that I had. My little trabajo, my little hechizo. Hechizo in Spanish means my spell that I did, because I wanted to see what the moon, the omen of the blood moon and the omen of the crows, what were they trying to tell me? I need to see something, because in Spanish we say, soldado avisado no muere en guerra. A soldier well advised will not die in times of war. Okay, so what was the moon? What was the blood moon telling me? What was this crow that kept flying over my head 3 times? What was it telling me? And as a brujo, I have to take it upon myself, not just to call myself a brujo because it sounds cool. No, I don't call myself a brujo just because, it's cool to call myself a brujo. No, it's because I'm going to go home and, okay, nature, the spirits are giving me signs and symbols. I need to pay attention, and I need to make sure that this comes to the light. It came to the light, and I saw what it was, and I just walked away from it. I'm not, I protect myself, I defend myself, but Sancista Brujo Luis, I'm a 6'1" tall guy, 220 pounds. I'm a gentle giant. I never knock on nobody's door looking for problems, but if problem comes knocking at my house, then of course I'm going to handle it. First with education, and then second with force. There's either the fight or flight syndrome. I know when it's time to say, you know what, I'm not going to get into this, I'm going to fly away. And I know when there's time to fight. And like I said, I have 99 problems on a daily basis that I have to deal with. and I place my situations, my problems on the side to help other people who need my help, you know. And I've got so many clients that those who know me very well know that I'm always like, my, you know, because I place myself aside for those who need me. So I'm sorry, I'm straying away from the video, and I'm going to get back into ending the video just to show you again signs and omens, and how you as a spiritual person, a witch, a religious person should pay attention to signs and symbols, because our spirit guides, our familiars, our angels, our deities, our divinities, they do send us symbols and signs, whether it's in the wind, it's in the moon, it's in the animals that fly by us. You know, we need to pay attention, because sometimes that is the way that our spirits send us messages, and that we need to pay attention to these things as they happen. And take note, definitely. So everything happened today. Well, everything happened. Thankfully, I came out of it, you know, good. Well, it really wasn't involved me, but I was almost trying. I think I was trying. People were trying to drag me into it, and I don't like to be dragged into other people's problems or situations. I wouldn't do that to nobody, and I don't like people doing that to me. But one thing I was looking at. Now, everyone who knows me knows that I was born under the sun sign, okay? And people who are born under the sun sign, my stone is gold. But I was, ever since I was little, I was not into gold. I was more into, if you can see, silver, steel. I like white gold. I don't mind white gold, stainless steel, and I use silver. And I was looking at this ring right here on my Saturn finger, and I was like, it was under my nose all this time. I was just not paying attention, because again, I have many clients, but I noticed that these, like all my jewelry, these are not fashion, these are all a spiritual jewelry. All my, you know, jewelry that I use in my spirituality to protect me, to watch over, whatever it may be. I'm not going to go too deep into that. But I noticed that this ring on my Saturn finger, it was completely black. And I said, oh my God, it was under my nose. I didn't pay attention. I didn't realize that this ring on my Saturn finger was warning me all this time. And here it is. It's absorbing all this negative vibration, all this negative crap that's around me. And it was just under my nose. I could have seen it right there, and I just didn't pay attention. So I use silver because I've always liked silver. I like black and silver, and I've gone into that. But I'm just going to show you how I think I've already done a video on how I cleanse my jewelry, because jewelry absorbs negative vibrations, negative spirits, evil eye. It absorbs it all, you know, especially if it's a talisman or an amulet for protection, which are my jewelry, and under my nose there it was. So I'm going to show you how I purify and cleanse my jewelry. And I think I've already done this in a video, but I'm just going to do it right here, right now again, and then just close this video. It's very, very simple. And here it was under my nose. And I just noticed today, I think it was today I just noticed. I'm like, wow, it was under my nose all this time, and I wasn't paying attention. Sometimes, you know, when we're dealing with many people, we just don't pay attention. So how do I cleanse and purify my jewelry, especially since I use a lot of silver in my spiritual work? Well, in a glass bowl, I take aluminum foil, and I think I've talked about this already. I take aluminum foil, and I place not the opaque side, but the shinier side of the aluminum foil, okay? And I want to purify my jewelry. And so I'm going to add a couple drops of holy water. This is just me. And I got sulfur, ignore the sulfur. I'm just going to take some table salt from the house. Just a little bit, you don't need a lot. To purify, to cleanse, and to remove, okay? And this is just regular salt. Now to this, I'm going to add baking powder. Now, I'm a lefty. You ever notice that everything is made for righties? And yes, I use the hand del diablo, the hand of the devil, I guess they call it. So I'm going to take some baking powder. I'm sorry, baking soda. I just put a little bit in there. Actually, that's a little bit too much, but that's fine. Now I'm going to place my ring in there, coat it up. You know, one day, speaking about omens, one day, actually last week, you know, because I read omens and signs, I mean, everything. Terry, it was late at night, and Terry came into the kitchen, and by accident, he hit a broom, and the broom fell, and he said, ooh, what is it? What do you call that? Guests are coming. He said, guests are coming. And after he said that, the mop fell, and I said, oh, a woman's coming. He goes, oh, is that what that means? I said, oh, I don't know. In Spanish, la coba, if a broom falls, guest is coming. But if it's a mop, it's a woman. And lo and behold, the next day, my sister came. So I just thought that was funny, just for the omens. So here I have boiling water. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this over. Make sure the water's nice and hot. Let that sizzle. And what I like to do is I like to pray over this. I like to use baking soda. And then I'm going to pray over it, my own prayers. And I'm just going to leave it there. And it smells like sulfur. It smells like it's burning away all the demons and all the bad spirits, literally. And just use this fork to move it around. Leave it there. It smells like sulfur. I'm burning away all the demons and all the negative spirits from it. And now I'm going to take my hand, which is my right hand, and I'm going to pray over this and leave this there until it cools down, and let my ring become purified and cleansed. It smells like pure sulfur, and I didn't use sulfur. Sulfur is right over here. I didn't use that. That's for something else, another trabajo. But now I'm just going to let that cleanse and purify. So baking soda is we use this a lot in a lot of our spiritual works. It is good for cleansing, for removing negative vibrations, for just pretty much for everything. We use this in baths. We use this in floor washes. I wash my teeth with this stuff. Salt purifies, repels negative spirits, negative entities, and of course holy water. We all know what holy water is. And here's my ring. I'm going to take it. Let me see if I can touch it. What a difference. Look at that. Why silver? I'll explain that in a second. Why do I use silver? Or why do a lot of magical and spiritual people use silver? What a friggin' difference. It doesn't even look like the same stone. I'm going to show you a before and after. So here's the before. This will show you. And let me show you the after. And here is the after. After I cleansed it and purified it. Nice and clean. Nice and beautiful. I hadn't realized it because I was just so busy. I have to probably wipe it down and polish it. But it's cleansed. Why do we use silver? You know, gold is ruled by the sun. Okay, the masculine energies of the sun. While silver is ruled by the moon, the feminine energies of the moon. It's a very protective metal. Okay, it absorbs negative. See, I need to polish it. It absorbs negative vibrations into it. It absorbs. It's very protective. It purifies. It gives us. It helps us with our clairvoyance. It helps us with our sight. So I often, you can see, I often use silver or white gold or stainless steel, but now it is purified. And this goes with the omens because I wasn't paying attention. I mean, it was right under my nose. Now, this video is not to start any gossip or fights. I'm not into that. I respect any message that was given to me, you know, and in espiritismo we say, you know, I give you la evidencia and you do what you got to with it at the end of the day. So I listen. And I just protect myself. I just defend myself. I don't start wars or fight, nothing like that. And I have respect for everybody. I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I have respect for everybody. And this is not what I'm all about. So I'm just going to end this video. And I just wanted to show you. I'm going to polish it up. Put it back to where it should go. And it's easy to put it back. But look at what a difference. Actually, I should clean the rest of these guys because these guys need a nice cleansing as well. But it was under my nose. So I'm sure I'm going to have some people who are going to watch this video and they're going to say, well, that's not magic, that's science. And to these people, I will say, you know, if it wasn't for our prehistoric and ancient shamans, you wouldn't have the witches. And if it wasn't for our witches, you would not have our maguses and our prophets and our wizards and our sages and our wise men and our wise women. And if it wasn't for our wise men and wise women, our cunning folk, you wouldn't have our alchemists. And if it wasn't for our alchemists, you wouldn't have what is science today, because science has its roots in ancient magic, in ancient shamanism. And what does the word witchcraft mean? You know, a lot of people don't even understand what the word witchcraft means. Let's break the word witchcraft. Craft, knowledge, and witch comes from the Celtic word wise. So it's the craft of the wise, the craft of knowing things unknown to others, having secret knowledge and secret wisdom of things that are around us that most people take for granted, and that is what is witchcraft. It's kind of freaky that the formation of these trees is all that way. It's pointing in one direction, every single one of those trees. Look at that, they're all pointing that way. I never noticed that. Huh. Gray, New England, day. This is New England. This is New England for you. Gray. One day sunny. Yesterday was 70 and warm. Today in Massachusetts, it's rainy, gray, and cold.